Good morning, Guam, or afternoon or evening, wherever you are in the world. I just decided to stop and visit Frank on my way to the gym and wanted to always pop on and, talk to you guys about grief. It's kind of my thing. And so we have this grief talk coming up on Thursday, and I just want to remind everybody to come out and listen to the amazing Dream Team talk about their lived experiences around grief and how they found the grief recovery method and how it has helped them through their own healing journey and how they help others in doing so as well. So if you haven't had an opportunity to read my latest article in the Pacific Daily News, I talked about the physical symptoms of grief, and I think that it was such a vital part of what we do around giving grief a voice and teaching people what grief is and what it isn't. And most people don't associate with grief with anything other than the death of a loved one. But if you are suffering from depression, anxiety, panic attacks, because of whatever, various reasons, right, for things that are happening in your life, I want to encourage you to come out and listen to what the ladies have to say, because through my own experience of having my first anxiety attack the day before Frank's funeral, and then working with other people that have also experienced depression, anxiety, and panic attacks, and just building up my knowledge around grief, around human emotions, and learning through other people's experiences, I know that as human beings, we do everything that we possibly can to not feel uncomfortable. And so a lot of our thoughts in our mind, a lot of our emotions that we feel that don't feel good, we do deliberate attempts, right, to suppress them, to avoid them. And the truth is, when we do that, they're going to surface anyway, and they come out through panic attacks and anxiety attacks. And so I want to encourage you to come out and listen to what we have to say about how the physical body is negatively impacted by your grief if you don't take the right actions to heal. And again, through our own lived experiences, mine personally, I experienced so many different health conditions in the first year after Frank died. And even though I did grief recovery about 3 months after, I knew I still had a lot of work to do in my area of healing. And so as I was doing that, I was still in this mindset of trying to be strong or to suppress certain emotions during certain times in my life because it wasn't appropriate to feel these ways. And so over time, I learned more and more how to allow these emotions to just be processed and to acknowledge them. And my healing journey has brought me to an amazing place of being healthy and looking younger and more vibrant. And it's because I've learned to just feel. But it isn't an easy process, guys, especially if you've got so much going on, if you've experienced so many losses, or if you've suppressed a lot. And some of these memories are not something that you particularly remember right now, right? The body has a way of protecting itself. And so if you've experienced something traumatic, especially at a very young age, a lot of times those memories are going to be suppressed, and it's in our unconscious mind. But in our conscious mind, we don't remember them. But our body is still fighting. Our body is still fighting through the emotional trauma that you experienced. And so if you don't take the proper actions to heal your heart, the physical body then will suffer from many different types of conditions. And again, depression and anxiety is definitely a clinical condition, or it can be diagnosed as a clinical condition. But I want you to know that you don't just get them. They come from an emotional place first. And over time, if you don't take care of that healing in your body, then yes, it does become a severe medical condition that sometimes you do have to take medication to work through it. But the method that we teach through grief recovery is super amazing, and it really does help you to get to the root, the cause of where these physical conditions are coming from. And again, it isn't just about the death of a loved one. You know, if you suffered from divorce, if you suffered from some sort of abuse in your family, domestic violence, if you suffered from trauma, you know, you were a rape victim, or you suffered from some sort of sexual assault, if you were bullied in school, if you've suffered huge losses in your finances, or you retired and that was a huge loss for you, families moved away, you're empty nesting, all of these things bring on feelings of grief, because grief is the emotional reaction to loss of any kind, right? You're sad because your family member's gone. It's that loss of a family member that is not physically here with you. They're still alive, but they're living in a different country. That's grief. You've got a family member that's deployed and you're so scared if they're even going to come back alive. That's loss of, you know, security in your family. Fear is a huge part of grief. And so suppressing these emotions, or trying to be tough, or thinking that, you know, you're going to be okay, thinking positive, right? We live in a world that teaches us to think positive. There's nothing wrong with thinking positive, guys. But let me tell you, there's everything wrong with pretending to be positive. And so, yes, we want to think positive, but before we can get to that place of thinking positive, we need to first acknowledge all of the other stuff, the yucky stuff, the sad stuff, the depressing stuff, the painful stuff, right? Because that makes you human just as much as being happy and joyful and energetic. So please come out on Thursday, 6 p.m., Chamorro Chip Cafe in Tamuning, right in front of Cochules. And if you're not here on Guam, it's okay. We're going to go live on Facebook. Sorry for those of you that are in the East Coast or even in the Central Time Zone. Might be a little bit late for you. But we always save our live videos, and so you can come back and watch it later. But there's going to be some amazing things coming. 2020 is a year of building up our grief credibility and showing people that we are the grief experts, because we are, without a doubt. We know more about grief than most people on the planet. And when you learn the grief recovery method, you will be there too. And then you'll be able to have these amazing tools to help you through all of the losses in your own life. So guys, it is so sunny here. I cannot see any of the comments that you're putting, but I love you all for tuning in. Thank you so much. I will definitely get back to each of you when I get my glasses on and I get away from the sun. But let me just show you guys. I always like to show Frank off. You know, I was just talking to him earlier and telling him how famous he is around the world. People love him and know him, even though they never physically met him, because of the stories that I share about us. And so, by the way, when I went live the other day, it was like thanking whoever put this flower. And then I found out that it was my granddaughter, Lily. She actually had come up with her mom to visit her papa a couple of minutes before I came up, and I didn't realize it, so we were right behind each other. But anyways, that's from Lily. And then, of course, if you see the candles, it has Our Lady of Guadalupe, and that was Frank's saint. He loved her. And yeah, so here he is. It's kind of, it looks wet, so you can't really, it is wet. I'm sorry, not looks, but it is wet. So the writing, the engraving on his, on the stone here is hard to see, but his picture is always very visible, so that's super cool. But anyways, my favorite place to do videos, my favorite place to come and visit when I'm here in Guam. And it really does inspire me to come out and talk to you guys more and more about what I know about grief and sharing my story, and really trying to encourage everyone, because we are all grievers. We have all experienced some sort of loss in our life throughout our life. And there's a way to heal from all of that, guys. You don't have to live a life of misery through physical health conditions, or through a broken heart, or thinking that you have to be sad forever. You don't, right? I had those thoughts too, so I can totally relate to that. When I lost Frank, you guys know this, it was so hard for me, and I miss him every single day. But his death has allowed me to come and teach all of you about grief and share my story, and hopefully inspire you to one day take the actions to heal your heart, because I can inspire you with all my words, but those do nothing for you internally and through your own healing journey if you don't take the proper actions to heal your heart. So come on out to the Tomorrow Chip Cafe on Thursday. We're going to talk to you about the programs that we teach, how it can help you despite all your losses. All right, so I'm going to head to the gym and push some of those weights. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.